You've been praying for your family. You've been praying for some things to shift. You've been praying for some things to turn. And God said, the only thing I know to do is to send a strong wind. The only thing I know to do is to allow a little turmoil. The only thing I know to do is to allow something to disrupt your ease.
No, the first thing going through my mind is I'm going to die. The first thing going through my mind when the tornado hits is I think I'm going to die here in the sanctuary. It feels like 4 seconds takes 5 days. It probably didn't last more than 5 minutes, but it felt like 10 years. So you're kind of saying there, so in my mind I thought, I had the presence of mind to call my wife for starters, you know. I had the presence of mind to call her, and then obviously the presence of mind to pray, and also the presence of mind to hang on to that pew. In that moment when the storm hits, you look out the window, you see all the trees blowing by, the wind, and you could kind of see those bands sweeping in front of the windows of the church. You immediately just kind of fall back into what you know. So immediately call my wife, hang up with her, go to prayer. I know it probably didn't last more than a couple of minutes, but it felt like 10 days. And you had all this going through your mind, and it was immediately just fall into what you know. What I know is I love my family, I love God, and I love the church. So I fell into call my wife, call on the name of the Lord, and shelter in this beautiful place. So you may or may not be able to see part of the whole. Of course, it's been tarped over now. We have close to 13 tarps on the roof at this moment. It's been said that storms sort of change everything. Sometimes it takes decades for places to go back to the way they were before the storm. Sometimes they go back immediately. But I think moving forward that this church will have changed. I know that for me personally, that moment changed me as a preacher, and I feel like this church has been changed. As we move forward, the idea that this place is always going to be here, that's not in our minds anymore. We don't take this place for granted. We don't take each other for granted. We know that in a moment, everything can change. Whenever the tornado hit, obviously we used to have an awning here that sort of covered the front porch of the church. This is what's left of it. I feel like this church is in a defining moment in our history. Sort of came about, was here in the sanctuary, sort of preparing again. Defining moments, it just continued to play over and over in my mind that this is a very pivotal, very defining place for our church. The decisions that we make here, the attitude with which we move forward is going to determine the future of this congregation, the revival for this congregation, how we respond to this defining moment. It's going to make a massive difference for us and for our children.
God is saying, I allowed the right storm to produce a mobilization. Oh yes, there's a mobilization coming for this church. Some of you are getting ready to move in areas in God you've never moved in before. The treasure has always been there.
And I want to rise in this pulpit tonight and tell somebody that you and I are at a crossroads in our walk with God, in our church's history, and in the history of this community, that we have risen to a defining moment. And what you do with this moment is going to determine what happens next. The way you move from this point forward will decide what happens to us. It'll decide how revival goes. It'll decide what happens to the next generation, because you and I have come to a defining moment. It will deeply impact what we do. It will deeply impact who we are and the difference that we're going to make in the world. But you and I, ladies and gentlemen, we have got the power in the Holy Ghost to rise to this defining moment and say we are going to be different from this day forward than we have ever been before. It is our defining moment. We are going to see moves of the Holy Ghost. We are going to see an outbreak of holiness. We are going to see an outbreak of revival. We're going to pray our kids through. We're going to pray our backsliders through. We are going to see a move of God. It is a defining moment in this church's history. What we do now will define what our future looks like.